And so with space utilization, we're going to start answering some questions about your spaces and delivering all the information you need so that you can correlate and come up with intelligent insights of your spaces across your technology estate. The first question we're going to answer with space utilization is whether or not your rooms are booked. Now, I want to be clear that like with room booking, we're obviously not trying to supplant any existing technology partners. So you're going to get your booking information from where you have it today, which is in Microsoft, Google. That's where we're starting. There could be more down the road. But what we're doing is bringing in that information to add context on top of the additional information that Q-SYS has available. So new data we can serve up so you can see it in new ways and correlate it with things you had in other places kind of in isolation before. So once we know whether or not your system is booked or your space is booked, then we're going to move into whether or not there are people in the space. You can see in our imagery, people walking into a room. This is where things get really interesting, and I'm excited about this new approach we're taking. So when we started kind of ideating on space utilization, something that was really important to us was making sure that we're delivering value without you having to make any significant changes to your system. So this is building on what we have is this powerful Q-SYS full stack AV platform. And so where we're starting is taking the sensors and the technology that's available in Q-SYS today and allowing you to get a sense of occupancy in many cases without making any changes to your system at all. So if you have some of the control values and sensors built into your systems, and many of you will, we can answer more questions about those details in a breakout. But if you have those, then once we launch this feature, you will get occupancy in Reflect without making changes on the edge. Now, there are some things to make it more powerful where you may need to change a property or something like that. An example is our TSC touch panels today have proximity sensors that most people aren't making much use of. We'll be able to tap into those proximity sensors as one of the sensors in a space to tell you that someone is in your space. That particular situation does require you to enable a property in design. Now, once we know that a space is booked, the next thing that's going to be really interesting is telling whether or not or how many people you have in a space. And for that, we're first going to leverage the power of our NC cameras. Again, if you have NC cameras today, you don't have to buy anything new. You may have to enable face counting if you're not already using it, but if you are already using it, you won't have to touch a thing. Just by being connected to Reflect, you're going to get this face counting information in Reflect. And then what you're going to have is in Reflect, whether or not your space is booked, are there people in the room, and how many people in the room? So building on that even further, we decided, okay, there are going to be situations where even that is not enough. And so for that, if you look at Sally Yellow's shirt in the corner up here, who's out of view of our NC cameras, then we decided to pull in some additional power of the Q-SYS platform, and that is through our ecosystem. So here, what we have is a partner people counter in the ceiling that can see that, oh, look, there's actually 4 people in the room. So what we're doing is actually combining the technology, looking at who's got the best view of what's actually going on in the space, and then telling you, no, there's actually 4 people in the room, to give more accuracy and also just spread the capabilities we have in order to pull this stuff in. Now, I do want to be clear on these that we want to deliver power right out of the box. So you have Q-SYS already installed, you have Reflect, you get these features. You will get better data if you design for this. So if you're placing occupancy or people counters in certain places because you're optimizing for these features, yes, obviously, you can really get powerful data and get the most accuracy. But you're going to get some accuracy, and you're going to get a lot of value just out of having Q-SYS right out of the box. In many cases, like I said, without even making changes to the systems that you have today. Now, the last question we want to answer as part of this particular feature rollout is whether or not your systems are being used. So then you know that your space is booked, you know that there are people in the space, you know how many people are in the space, and then you know, are they actually using the technology? Like, how important is my technical investment in these spaces to whether or not they get used? And so for that, we're going to take the same approach. We're using the power of the Q-SYS platform to take all the control values that give us some indication that someone's interacting with technology in the space. So that could be plugging up USB bridging to your laptop from a TSC or from an NV under a table. It could be that we see that the laptop video stream from NV1 to NV2 is being displayed on a generic display device. It could also just be touching a touch panel, like we know you're interacting with the UCI in the room, and that tells us that the system itself is being used. So all of this value is being delivered as part of the full stack AV platform, in many cases without any new investment on your behalf. And what we're providing here is just more intelligence about your technology estate and about whether or not you're investing in the right things, or who's using what, or are there ghost meetings we need to address. Like all of these things we're going to address with very little change on your side.